What's good, everyone? Hope you lot are all good. And listen, man, today's video is going to be to do with some of the thoughts I've had, obviously, just watching our preseason games, knowing the season's about to start. We're getting close to that point where it's like, all right, what is our team going to look like? How are we going to be for the season? It's business time. Shit's getting serious. And naturally, I'm starting to think about the makeup of the team, the games that we've played, what we can improve, what my feelings are about us going forward, etc. And I just feel like the big thing that stuck out to me, and this is not even an issue that for me starts here. This has been an issue that for me I've kind of had even before this, even under Maresca, and just in general, I'd say for like the last 2-3 years or whatever. I feel like Chelsea need more press resistance. And I'll explain why, and I'll break down and explain why. But I feel like if you were to ask me, what is it that Chelsea as a team need? What is it that's going to help Chelsea go to the next level? What is it that I still feel watching us sometimes that feels like it's missing? I would say it's press resistance. Now, when I say press resistance, I'm sure most of you all know what that is. Getting on the ball, when people press you, when you're under pressure, when you're in tough circumstances, how do you cope? How do you handle yourself? Are you someone that's going to lose the ball easily or not? Now, listen, Chelsea have a lot of players that are very adept in those moments. You got guys like James, Caicedo, whoever. You're not expecting them to lose the ball, Cole Palmer, whatever. That's all well and good. But when I'm talking about like elite press resistance, I want you to think of like the Pedris, Vitinhas, Lavia, even that we have in our team. He's a guy that I would say brings that. I'm talking about these guys where it's like, you lot all know what I'm talking about if you've watched football for a long time. Think Spain, think the most liquid, fluid kind of players around. That is what I'm talking about. I think when you're talking about being an elite possession team, and obviously I've watched football for a while, all the way going back to 2012 Barcelona, Wenger's Arsenal teams. You think about PSG now, back-to-back CO winners. You think about Spain that just won the World Cup. You think about the great City teams we've watched over the years. You even think about someone like Arsenal 22-23, maybe not so much now, but 22-23, for example, you think about that. All of these teams have that one thing in common. Because I think sometimes we put so much onus on coaching, and we've been guilty of this, especially with past managers that we've had. But really and truly, football comes down to the players we have. And if you want to play a certain style of football, which it looks like Chelsea obviously have been trying to play for a while now, the kind of players that we have or we've been targeting, we've never really been biased towards the physical kind of players. We're actually trying to sort that out this window. We all know there's been the rumours about the physical baseline and bringing in Lacroix, Rodgers and Palestra, all of that stuff. You think about the managers, like I said, we've had Maresca, Potter, Rosinia, Alonso now, even Pochettino at the start, obviously before he went insane, was kind of even doing positional play in pre-season. That's clearly the avenue we're going down. You know what I mean? Esteval, Palmer, João Pedro, etc. All of the kind of players we buy and prioritize are more on the technical side. So for me, it's clear we want to play elite possession football. And the reality is, I think we can all admit, have we had some highs? Absolutely. There's been some games we've been amazing. But have we really seen that kind of fluid attacking football that we expect and you want, like the PSGs and some of these other teams that we're talking about at the bridge? Not really. We might have seen it in spurts. There's been some solid, good games. Even when we beat these big teams, it's kind of more been about high pressing. And obviously, we've been fluid on the ball. We always look solid and technical. Like when it comes to build up, we do our thing. That's never been in doubt, especially since Maresca's come in. But when I really talk about that fluid attacking football, breaking teams down, beautiful football that I think we're hoping for, we still haven't really kind of seen it. And I think for anyone that's watched Xabi Alonso, that's where the excitement came in, obviously, when you think about Alonso being your coach. When you watched his Leverkusen team, they were super fluid, super amazing. This is the reason why they caught everyone's attention. Listen, aside from obviously being incredible, winning the Bundesliga, going invincible, that's obviously the main catch. But the football was fluid, it was liquid, it was beautiful. It's a big reason I was excited when we hired him. It's a big reason I wanted Alonso. I was like, okay, if we want to play this football, let's try and get one of the best for it. Because obviously that's a big part of it. You see guys like Enrique, Pep. You can't just do it with anybody. You need one of these elite Spanish coaches usually, if we're being honest. So we finally got one of those. So for me, it's not going to be about the coaching. And don't get me wrong, it's going to take time. And I'm actually going to make a video about that soon as well, because that's something we've got to think about. It will definitely take time for the tactics, the fluidity, the rotations and all of that to be coached into the team. There's no doubt about that. But I still think, like I'm saying, players are a massive part of it. A part of why we've not been able to see that football is, do we really have the personnel to execute? And that's not to say we don't have very good players, because like I said, we do. You list a lot of the players we have, Caicedo, James, Enzo, obviously, wherever he stays, Palmer, João Pedro, blah, blah, blah. We've got players. We've got players that you would even say are technical. But what I'm talking about particularly here that really seems to make these elite fluid teams tick is press resistance. is Iniesta, Xavi, etc. Busquets back in the day, is Pedri and all these guys that you see for Spain, is Vitinha, Neves for Barcelona, is Bernardo Silva, it's Odegaard for Arsenal 22-23, and he who shall not be named, who was obviously their six, who's obviously gone away for whatever he's done. Those are the players that really, for me, take your football to the next level. It's guys who get the ball, and irrespective of tactics, you're not getting the ball off them. They're impossible to press. They're able to dribble, they're able to drop a shoulder, they're mobile, they're able to do what they want on the pitch. I feel like as much as we have players who are trust not to lose the ball, how many guys do we really have that kind of have that Spanish possession, true fluid, true press resistant vibe? Not many. I think Lavia is the closest to that, and it's no surprise. The best stints of pre-season football that we've seen have been when Lavia's on the pitch. You think about the Milan game next to Caicedo, two technical midfielders, and obviously Caicedo's great at it, but I think there's still levels to this when it comes to press resistance that I'm talking about. Lavia's the one that really shines out for me, but he obviously needs a partner next to him. When him and Caicedo played against Milan, some of the best football that we've seen this whole pre-season. You move on to, obviously, against when Lavia and Gusto and Josh all came on against Real Sociedad. Again, I feel like the football, the levels just went up. You saw how we scored that third goal. People started making clips and all about that section of the game. And it's because of what I'm talking about. Even guys like Josh and Gusto, this is what I mean. When you look at Josh and Gusto, what do they have that some of our other players don't? They have that kind of ability to manipulate opponents. They're a bit dribbly. They have that mobility where they can kind of shimmy, they can shuffle, they can take extra touches that maybe some other players can't. And you could see how that just changed and transformed how Alonso's football looked. And I feel like that's, for me, was an eye-opener. It was already something I've been banging on about. Anyone that knows me knows I've been talking about this. I wanted this even when I didn't know Alonso was going to be our manager. It's something I wanted under Maresca, and I was disappointed and frustrated that we didn't sort that out last summer. But watching those guys come on the pitch was just, again, another confirmation to me where I'm like, that's what's missing. That's what we need for Alonso's football to shine. That's what we need to see Alonso's true philosophy. I think, listen, even over time, hopefully, we're still going to see those rotations. And in months, I'm sure coaching is going to definitely add to it. There's no doubt about that. But like I said, it still comes down to the tools you have and the players you have. The Premier League is the most physical, one of the most high-pressing leagues in the world. And I think there's guys that might even be press-resistant in other leagues. You come to the Premier League, it's a different beast. So you really need the highest tier of press resistance, of guys that trust themselves on the ball. And I feel like that's what Chelsea... If there was something I would say we need to add before the window ends, or we should be looking to add to the team, that for me would be it. That would be the one thing I'm looking at. Like, we've obviously just, I don't know, some people, I'm sure you've seen, Man United, for example, are about to get Baleba. If there was anything you would ask a United fan, what do you need to add? Forget position, just in general. What is it that you need to add to this team to go to the next level? I'm sure almost all of them would have told you athleticism. Wherever it comes, whether Baleba plays left back, centre mid, whatever, that's what you would have needed. And that's what they've done by going to get Baleba. That's the kind of feeling you get as a fan when you're like, okay, my whole team is potentially about to transform because we've signed a guy that's one of the best in the world for this specific thing. This is the reason why, like, you need to look at signings in context. For Man United, for example, Baleba's PMP athleticism, you can say what you want about Baleba, but when it comes to that, maybe only someone like Declan Rice and even maybe not even him gets close to him when it comes to that. He's a freak of nature athlete. So when you got your Santos, Tielemans and all these guys they got, it's naturally going to help them there. For me, I feel that feeling with Chelsea. We got amazing players. We got guys like Caicedo, if Enzo stays or not, Palmer, João Pedro, Rodgers, etc. I think we got some great quality. James, brilliant quality. All that's missing now for me is just that constant in the team that's press resistant, that kind of glues everything together. Who's the guy you can give the ball to in sticky situations that's always going to make it stick, that's going to connect the team together, that's going to roam around the pitch and almost just bring that fluid feeling that you see when you watch these PSG City kind of teams. When you watch Man City, this is the reason why Pep would always force Bernardo into the lineup in different positions. Bernardo's probably played every single position you can imagine. And there's no surprise that Pep has even left. Now Bernardo's announced he's gone. Because he probably clocked, these players are special. Like, you need one of those kind of guys. Odegaard is similar. Even though he starts at the 10, you see him buzzing all over the pitch. Vitinha starts at the 6, you see him buzzing all over the pitch. Like I said, Bernardo, here, there, everywhere. I feel like we need someone that kind of gives that vibe. And even when you watch Gusto come on, for example, I think this is maybe why Maresca used to even put Gusto in weird positions. Gusto kind of gave that. Obviously, there's levels to this because he's a defender, and this is what I mean. He jumped on the pitch, and you saw him at least buzzing around, he's rotating, he knows where to do, he's a pass and move kind of player. Like I said, Lavia comes on and everything just opens up. He's someone that's happy to take it on wherever, float around, pass it, and just make everyone comfortable, bring everyone else into the game. Hazard even used to do that. Hazard was a left winger, but he would literally just go where he wants. 1-2s with everybody, go to the CBs, go near the striker, go to the other side of the pitch. That's why we used to call it almost the Garden of Eden, whatever. So for me, that's what I would say Chelsea are missing a little bit. That's the one thing I'm looking at and I'm thinking, how can we get this into the team? Like, we need to find a way. And I think we've all seen the links to Alex Scott. I'm pretty sure that's the reason that we're interested in Alex Scott. I think, yes, obviously Alex Scott, does he have the passing and the creation of an Enzo or even a Wharton? No, to me. I'm not saying he's not a bad passer. He can break lines and he can pass. But would I say he's like an expert passer? Probably not. But what he does bring is that feel, that mobility, the ability to dribble, the ability to carry in situations, the ability to drop to the CBs and roam and float. I feel like that's what they're probably looking at if we do get Alex Scott. But for me, like I said, and I just spoke about it, the only fear I have when it comes to that is it maybe a little bit counterproductive to gain that, but then in the same breath, maybe lose some of the creation and passing. I can imagine us maybe being against certain low blocks and now being concerned about our ability to maybe break teams down, because that's, again, a massively important part of being a possession team as well, especially in the Premier League where you're going to face loads of low blocks. So it does feel a little bit counterproductive potentially, you know what I mean? So that's the only thing I would say. But I do think, like I said, it's just something that Chelsea need to think about. How can we get this into the team? Now, I've obviously tweeted this out today as well and discussed it. Someone like Ndiaye is somebody that I'm thinking about randomly because he's a player I really wanted this summer. Again, because I feel like even though he might not score a crazy amount of goals, he might not be someone that everybody thinks is just the most amazing player in isolation. But when it comes to this dribbling, ball retention, the comfortability on the ball, just that special, unique ability to trust himself in any situation, always want the ball, just comfy on the ball, like the vibe and energy you see that Shirky brought to City, for example. I think Ndiaye is one of the best in Europe for that, let alone in the league. He's special in that regard. For what I'm talking about, I feel like he gives me that vibe, almost that Hazard level confidence, where he's like, yo, give me the ball. I can dribble out of any situation. I'm going to roam around the pitch. I'm going to drop to the CBs, blah, blah, blah. I feel like someone like Ndiaye, that was why I wanted him. I could imagine him being in this team and just transforming. Like I was talking about with Baleba, how he's going to potentially transform the whole way United's team function because of his athleticism and because the team have needed that so much. I feel like someone like Ndiaye maybe could even bring that. And obviously we've seen rumours of Neto potentially going 80, 90 million or whatever. For me personally, I'd sell for even 65, 70 or whatever. Is Ndiaye maybe somebody that could be a one-in, one-out situation in that regard? Potentially. We obviously saw Gusto kind of used in Neto's role when he came on, but Gusto's obviously a defender and we don't want that. Neto obviously played and had slight positives, but for me, Neto, I just think we're past him. I think if you even want that profile, just use Giovanni Kenda, who for me, again, is an exciting player in his own right. But I think obviously if you want that experience, an experienced player to kind of fill that void that Neto's left, Ndiaye is an interesting one. Could we do a one-in-one now? I know there's been rumours running around Chelsea could pivot to an attacker to replace Neto if he goes. For me, Ndiaye would be a very interesting player to consider if that was a situation. Because again, it's a way to add press resistance to the team. Like I'm saying, it doesn't really matter for me where that press resistance comes from. Because like I said, Vitinha plays 6, Odegaard plays 10, Bernardo pretty much played in every position you can imagine, next to the 6, 10, right wing. I've even seen him at left back for certain games. Then you got Hazard, for example, was a left winger. All of these guys play in different areas, positions. It's not about that. It's just a trait I'm talking about. It's a skill set. The same way I was talking about with Baleba for United, whether he plays left back, whether he plays centre mid, doesn't really matter. It's the skill set we're talking about here. It's plug and play. You put this player in the team, they're going to roam around the pitch and bring everything together. And you kind of get that possession football that we're looking for. And I feel like Chelsea need to evolve to see the maximum version of Alonso ball. Because like I said, Florian Wirtz was that guy for Leverkusen. This is why he was so loved. Aside from his GA, the goals and being a 10, that was Florian Wirtz's whole thing. He was fluid, he's mobile, his touch was crisp, beautiful. He was that guy that would kind of have the freedom to get around the pitch, connect with everybody and do that. And I feel we've tried to maybe give that to Cole Palmer to some extent. But for me, Cole Palmer, as fluid as he is, he's still maybe like 6 foot. He's a little bit taller. I don't feel like he's that level of press resistance in tight spaces. Cole Palmer's somebody where, is he going to lose the ball easily? He's going to try things. He's going to do what it is. But I still think there's a level that I'm talking about where it's like, you see it with Lavia. He's almost impossible to get the ball. If he's laughing on the pitch. Cole Palmer's still in a moment where it's like he's going to try things. There's times he can get shrugged off the ball, etc. I feel like maybe Chelsea, I don't know where we'd get it, but I still kind of need that. And I think in all the reviews I've made and all the things I've done, you've always heard me kind of talk about needing possession type players. It's again to do with this idea of wanting to really see Alonso's vision. And I think that's obviously where I'm coming from when it comes to that. And just quickly as well, before I even round off, I think another big reason I would say this is so potentially important for us as a team and how we want to be. I think everybody's seen, especially in the preseason game and in the last one, if you watch that Sociedad first half, we can look a little bit vulnerable in transitions at times. And the reason that is because to play shabby ball, to play this PSG type football, to play this Pep type football, the main way that you're defending is with the ball. You're trying to defend with the ball. In order for shabby ball to work to its maximum, in order for this kind of football to work to its maximum, you have to control games. You have to not lose the ball easily. You have to be amazing when it comes to ball retention, in truth. PSG's football would not work. PSG would be way too vulnerable if they lost the ball often. The reason PSG's football is amazing because they hardly lose it. When you watch Vitinha, João Neves and all these guys, it feels impossible to press them or get the ball off any of them. They've got so many press-resistant players, it's scary. That is the reason that whole philosophy works. If you saw Enrique's football with Ugarte before that, it was very different. Because again, it's all about the names and profiles you have. And when it comes to defending in this league, there's a reason that even though City might not have had the most amazing defense, like Arsenal with Saliba, Gabriel, whatever, listen, sometimes City have not had the best defenders. They've kind of prioritized the technical stuff as well. But the reason they've still had amazing defensive records is because like when you play City, we've all experienced it playing Pep, prime Pep. You can't get the ball off them. It's literally like they're just flowing and playing a certain football and you're just left there. No mercy, struggling. And that's kind of how you defend. Because obviously if you hold on to the ball more, you face less transitions. So for me, this is more than just wanting to see lovely, fluid football. I think with the way our team's made and the kind of style we're trying to play, getting that pressure-resistant player that helps us to dominate the ball even more and make it almost impossible to get the ball off, not only does it make us more fluid and attacking and fun and flow, it's good for us defensively. It makes us a better team. It makes us control games more. It makes us more likely to win because we spend more time at the opposition's final third. It feels more like we're suffocating teams. That's the bit that feels like it's missing with Chelsea. And this is the reason why, like you say, when we face low blocks, sometimes it can feel a bit stale. It can feel a bit like we're getting hit on transition a bit too often because moves are breaking down. And that can't be the case. Like, we need to be able to have things stick and for things to be much more smooth than they are for the defensive side of things and the attacking side of things. So I actually think this press resistant stuff I'm talking about is needle moving. So for me, I'm going to be watching to the end of the window. How can Chelsea add this? What way can we go about it? Like I said, I've given the Ndiaye shout. For me, that's a smart fix. Because like I said, it doesn't matter where you get it from. I know we've got Esteval and them guys as well. They can obviously get minutes and play, but it looks like the manager's prioritizing Neto anyway. And I'd much rather have someone that gives something to the team that's needle moving than whatever Neto's giving me. Sorry to say, I know some people might like him, but nah, it's not enough for me. Well, for me, I just feel like if you'd rather play Neto, you might as well play Kenda. If we're going to have that kind of player, never mind someone like Ndiaye can play in the pockets as well. In Palmer and Rodgers' role, he can play off the left, play on the right. He can defend in a 5-2-3 and has even more work rate than Neto potentially. That's one of Ndiaye's main things. I think he would be a really smart fix. So this is what I'm looking out for, man. I feel like for me, this has been a long time coming, something I've been wanting to see for Chelsea. Like I said, I'll be interested to see with Alonso what he can pull off aside from the players because he's a magical coach. Let's not doubt this. I think you can hear from how he talks. Things are going to get better in time, in months, etc. It's only going to get better and better over time. So that's exciting in itself. We still got technical players. So even if we don't fix this, let's see what Alonso can do. Obviously just coaching-wise. But I think to make his life easier, listen, Lavia's not a guaranteed starter. His fitness is... And I just think, let's see if we can add that to the team somehow. Even if it's an alternative. Like you said, if you bring in Alex Scott as an alternative to Enzo or whoever. Because obviously, like I said, I'm a bit wary of losing the passing of Enzo to them bringing pressure resistance. You don't want it to be counterproductive. So that is a bit nerving for me. But let's see. Let's see, man. Let's see what this team can do. Let's see what the club are thinking. But that's just something I wanted to get off my thoughts. You lot let me know in the comments what you think. Have you noticed what I'm talking about? Do you realise that sometimes the football's a bit stale? Do you think I'm bugging? Do you think it's not that important? What do you even think is potentially more important for the team? You lot know I love interacting in the comments and I always try to reply if I can. So yeah, man, that's the vid. that's just what I wanted to get off my chest. It's what's been on my mind of recent after these games. Anyone that follows me on X, you've probably seen me tweet about it a bit, and that's the main thing I've been talking about. So yeah, man, let me know. Shout out to all you lot. Like, comment, and subscribe. All of it helps massively. Let's hop that road to 1K before the season starts, or before this month ends, man. Let's get this show on the road, man. And season's about to start, man. I'm gonna be active. Don't watch that. So yeah, man. Like, comment, subscribe. Bless up.